Imagine if you knew exactly what women want, not what they say they want, but what they truly want. How much time, money, and effort would you save? Imagine being able to tell whether a woman wants you or not by reading simple nonverbal cues. Have you ever met a woman that you couldn't help but pursue relentlessly? Maybe you've seen it in your own life, or maybe you've heard stories from friends. Well, it's not a coincidence. Psychotherapist Emma Lowe explains that women naturally gravitate towards men with purpose because it signals drive, ambition, and resilience. A man with purpose is focused, determined, and goal-oriented. He knows what he wants to achieve and is actively working towards his goals. This drive and ambition are attractive to women because they suggest that the man is capable of providing for himself and those he cares about. Furthermore, a man with purpose is often resilient in the face of adversity. He doesn't give up easily and is able to bounce back from setbacks and challenges. This determination and tenacity are appealing to women because they indicate a strong work ethic and the ability to overcome obstacles. Additionally, a man with a sense of purpose tends to have a clear set of values and beliefs. He knows what he stands for and is committed to living according to his principles. This depth of character and integrity are attractive to women because they suggest that the man is not only ambitious and driven, but also grounded and principled. Finally, a man with purpose often has a busy and fulfilling life. He is engaged in activities and endeavors that are meaningful to him and that take up his time and energy. This busyness is appealing to women because it suggests that the man is not only driven and goal-oriented, but also has a rich and interesting life. Having a purpose gives you direction, motivation, and meaning in life. It gives you something to strive for and work towards, which makes you more attractive to women. It gives you a sense of direction and helps you stay focused on your goals. It gives you the motivation to push through tough times and the strength to keep going when things get difficult. Overall, having a purpose in life makes you more resilient in the face of adversity. It gives you something bigger than yourself to focus on and helps you put your problems in perspective. Remember, brothers, a man with purpose is a man who knows what he wants in life. He's proactive, goal-oriented, and driven. He understands the importance of perseverance and believes in his ability to overcome challenges. He has a strong sense of values and is committed to living according to his principles. And he has a busy and fulfilling life that reflects his passions and interests. If you want to be attractive to women, remember that they're drawn to men who are purposeful and driven. So find your purpose, embrace it, and let it guide you in everything you do. By the way, if you want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love. Until next time, maybe she was your classmate that you had a crush on in high school, or the girl that you could get off your mind after meeting her at a party. Regardless, you couldn't understand why you were so obsessed with her. Well, that's because you were experiencing something that countless men have felt throughout history. You were captivated by the allure of the chase, the thrill of the hunt. You see, women want men who are challenging and hard to obtain, because it plays into their natural instincts and desires. Women are biologically programmed to seek out mates who can provide them with a sense of security and stability for themselves and any potential offspring. One way women assess the suitability of a potential partner is by gauging his level of effort and persistence in pursuing them. When a woman finds herself attracted to a man who seems unattainable or elusive, she's essentially testing his worthiness to be her mate. By placing him through a series of mental and emotional challenges, she's trying to determine if he has what it takes to be a good provider and protector. This is deeply rooted in their evolutionary past, when women who chose partners based on their ability to overcome obstacles and provide for their offspring were more likely to produce healthy and successful offspring. Therefore, if you want to attract and maintain relationships with high quality, you must recognize and accommodate these natural instincts by providing challenges that demonstrate your capabilities and What if I told you that 99% of guys completely misunderstand female nature? As a result, they waste years trying to win women only to find themselves heartbroken, confused, and full of resentment. But you won't be one of those guys. Because today, I am going to teach you how to see through women's illusions and discover what they truly want. These are the 3 biggest things that women want, and you need to know them all. So, listen up. The first thing women want is validation. Now, I know this might sound simple, but trust me, there's a lot more to it than you think. You see, women have evolved to seek out validation from others, but not for the reasons you might think. According to clinical psychologist Dr. Lucy Braun, seeking validation is an innate human need, but it's especially prevalent in women. Braun explains that it is because women tend to rely more on social support and feedback than men do. In fact, studies show that women are more likely than men to report being hurt by social rejection and are more motivated to seek acceptance and closeness from others. This need for validation stems from women's biological role as caregivers and their social position in society. Women have traditionally been responsible for nurturing others and maintaining relationships, which requires them to be attuned to the needs and opinions of those around them. Women often internalize the importance of being liked and accepted and may use it as a measure of their. For example, imagine you approach a woman and she gives you a small smile. Many guys would see this as a positive sign, but most women know that a polite smile is not genuine interest. They are more likely to reciprocate with a small smile back without expecting anything further. However, if you notice that she keeps smiling at you and initiating conversations, then it's a clear sign that she is genuinely interested in you. You see, women often use subtle cues to communicate their interests. If you want to know if a woman wants you, pay attention to these signs and respond accordingly. 2. The second thing women want is a challenge. And the third thing that women want is purpose. Have you ever noticed how many women are attracted to men with a sense of purpose? Here's the real reason women lose interest. It's not what you think. Now this might come as a shock, but it's one of the biggest reasons relationships break down. I've witnessed it hundreds of times. And it all comes down to one simple idea. This goes beyond just dating. Every relationship we enter, we have to ask ourselves this question: why did I choose this person? If you don't, you'll get lost in the sea of faces that look like her. Because here's the brutal truth, none of them are her. If you don't know her, you're not going to find her. And here's where things get complicated. Because finding yourself, it's not about some feel-good journey. It's about pain. It's about confrontation. Carl Jung said it best. The privilege of a dedicated man is that in moments of loneliness, when all the world is shut against him, he can always have recourse to himself. So remember, brothers, when a woman loses interest, it's not always about you. It's also about her. It's about the mirror shattering, the illusion collapsing. It's about her path and journey. Your path and journey. Because here's the paradox. When she lets go, it's not always because she doesn't care. It's because she has to find her own way. Don't chase after her. Keep going forward. Your goal is not to win her back. Your goal is to win yourself back to yourself. Because in the end, that's the only relationship that truly matters. You gotta go back to the man in the mirror. It's kind of like what happens when you walk out of the Matrix. Comment mirror below. Let me know if you got the message. And if you want to learn more about female psychology, more on what women really want, click the video that pops up on the screen right now. See you there. Think about Neo when he starts really seeing things. The colors pop, the camera's shaky, everything feels chaotic. It's almost overwhelming because he can't accept the truth that there's a pill. There's a world he could have been in. There's a life he could have lived, and he wants to go back to that other world. He wants to tell everyone, wake up. This isn't real. But Morpheus says, you can't. Once you leave the Matrix, you can't put the plug back in. You can't wake someone who's trying to sleep. That's the hard truth. And when you really understand it, it changes everything. See? When you wake up to the nature of reality, you start to see through the human drama, the manipulation, the games, and this is where it gets tricky. When you start walking that path of individuation, it gets lonely. Deeply, brutally lonely. Because now, you're starting to see things others can't. You begin to recognize the masks people wear, the games they play to survive. You see how most conversations are performances, how most relationships are unspoken agreements to avoid the truth. And when you try to talk about what you're seeing, they push back. They mock you. They say you're too cold, too intense, too analytical. They call you the problem. Not because you are the problem, but because you've become something they can no longer control. You're not the problem, you're the mirror. And people hate the mirror when it shows them something they don't want to face. Jung knew this. He spent years studying people who were terrified of confronting what he called the shadow, the hidden, rejected parts of the psyche that most of us pretend don't exist. And in women especially, he noticed something important. That many cultures actually reward women for not confronting those shadows, for staying innocent, emotional, intuitive, pure, for believing they're already complete just the way they are. But Jung didn't buy it. He said the real danger for women wasn't weakness or emotion. It was their unconscious animus, the inner masculine voice that pretends to know, pretends to lead, pretends to be right, even when it isn't. And if a woman doesn't face that part of herself, it takes over. It starts running the show. It projects onto every man she meets, blaming him for a war that's really happening inside her. And that's where you come in, thinking you're her savior. Thinking you'll be the one, that if you love her hard enough, stay loyal long enough, perform well enough, she'll finally see the real you and choose you for who you are. But that's not how projection works. Projection is a thief. It steals reality and replaces it with illusion. It convinces both of you that you're in love, when really you're just in agreement about the roles you're playing. And unless both of you wake up from the illusion, the fantasy, the story, you'll keep living out the same tragedy. Over and over, each person blaming the other. Each one saying, you changed, neither realizing they were never truly seen to begin with. And here's the most heartbreaking twist. That woman who once called you her hero, she may one day look at you as her enemy, not because you betrayed her, but because you stopped fulfilling the role she'll cast you in. She won't even realize she's doing it. She'll feel disappointed, let down, maybe even angry. But not at you, at the broken illusion, at the story that collapsed. Jung warned about this. He said, psychological betrayal becomes inevitable when people refuse to take responsibility for their own inner lives. You didn't deceive her, you didn't lie, you simply stopped being the fantasy she needed you to be. And because she never told you what that fantasy was, because she was even aware of it herself, you had no chance of living up to it. You were never him, and that's why she resents you. She doesn't resent your flaws. She resents your failure to be the mythical man she never said out loud she needed, the one she unconsciously assigned to you from the start. And now you're left holding the pieces, wondering what you did wrong, thinking if you just tried harder, said the right thing, loved better, performed longer, it might have worked out. But Jung didn't offer easy comfort. He wasn't here to make men feel better. He was here to wake them up. He said people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. You want to blame women? You want to say they're manipulative, dramatic, shallow? But Jung would just look at you, calm/steady, and ask, why did you choose her in the first place? You see, a man who avoids his own inner feminine, his emotions, his chaos, his longing for validation becomes a slave to hers. You're not a victim. You're a volunteer. You signed up for the fantasy, you stepped into the role, you wore the mask. Because facing your real self, that messy, uncertain, broken self, was more terrifying than pretending to be someone else. And this is the part where most men stop listening. Because this is the part where comfort ends and responsibility begins. Jung didn't promise a 3-step formula to become an alpha male. He didn't offer shortcuts. What he gave men was something far more valuable and far more painful. The task of sitting in silence, alone, with your thoughts, your shame, your emptiness, until the illusions start to fall apart. And make no mistake, they will fight back. That voice in your head, it'll scream that you need her, that you're nothing without her, that no man is complete without feminine attention. But Jung's work whispers something far more dangerous. It whispers that the man who can stand alone, without applause, without validation, without being needed, is the man who is truly free. Free from the trap of projection, free from the addiction to performance, free from being a character in someone else's fantasy. And here's the irony. When you reach that place, that grounded, rooted place where you no longer need to be chosen, women will be drawn to you, not because you're performing, but because you're not. You'll smile, not out of pride, but out of understanding, because you finally see it for what it is. She's on her own journey too. She has to face her own animus. She has to dismantle her own illusions. And that work, that shadow work, you can't do it for her. You're not her savior. You're not her project. You're not her puzzle piece. You can only do what Jung did. Walk your own path. Walk it so fully, so fearlessly, that your very presence becomes a mirror. Not a mask, not a performance, a mirror of truth. And most people, they'll turn away. But a few, a rare few, will thank you for it. That's the difference between being loved for the role you play and being respected for the man you've become. But listen, if you made it this far, men, we have to talk about something that's eating away at our generation. This feeling that despite having everything, we've lost ourselves. We've traded our authenticity for a life of illusion. Men, we're 7 generations removed from our warrior ancestors, yet we still live like it's a war. War against women, war against reality, war against ourselves. We've become the warriors of feelings, experts at suppressing them. We've grown accustomed to the numbness that numbs our pain and allows us to drift through life without truly feeling anything. It's a form of learned helplessness that keeps us trapped in a cycle of emptiness. And this emotional suppression has led us to sacrifice our masculine core on the altar of fleeting comfort. Or are we simply afraid of what it means to be men in a world that seems to reject us at every turn? Embracing our masculinity isn't about conforming to outdated gender roles or subscribing to rigid societal expectations. It's about recognizing the inherent value of our masculine energy and finding ways to express it in a way that is authentic to us. Deep down, we know that embracing our masculinity isn't about perpetuating toxic behavior or perpetuating harmful We must ignite a revolution of authenticity, inspiring other men to do the same. It's about recognizing our own worth and taking steps to become the best versions of ourselves. So let's summon the courage of our ancestors and embark on this journey together. Let me know in the comments below. Are you tired of living in the shadows of fear and insecurity? Are you ready to step into the light and become the man you were meant to be? Together, we can break free from the cycles of the past and forge a new path forward. A path illuminated by the flames of our unyielding spirit. A path that leads to a future where men stand tall, proud, and unapologetically themselves. Are you ready to embrace the fire that burns within your soul? If so, let your actions speak louder than words. Support this message. Share it with those who need it most, and live a life that reflects your unwavering commitment to your own masculinity. Let's be vulnerable enough to admit our flaws, strong enough to protect those we love, and wise enough to navigate the complexities of life with grace. Smash that like button, share this video with a brother who needs to hear these words. Subscribe and become part of a community that celebrates authenticity and strength. We must confront our demons, heal our wounds, and emerge stronger on the other side. It's time to be the men our fathers, grandfathers, and ancestors were meant us to be. It's time to reclaim our masculinity, not for the sake of dominance or societal norms, but for the sake of our own fulfillment and the betterment of the world around us. But we're not completely alone. There are others who walk this path, men who yearn for authenticity and strength. Reach out to them, connect with them, and build a network of support. Together, we'll form a brotherhood that stands the test of time. Let's rewrite the narrative of our generation and reclaim our birthright as men who are unapologetically themselves. It's about confronting our past, acknowledging the wounds that have held us back, and choosing to heal them. It's about learning to trust again, not just in ourselves, but in the world around us. It's about embracing vulnerability and allowing ourselves to be seen in our rawest form without fear of judgment or ridicule. It won't be easy. There will be challenges and setbacks along the way. But as long as we remain steadfast in our commitment to ourselves and our values, we'll pave the way for a better future, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come. Let's challenge the notion that masculinity and toxic behavior are synonymous. The world needs men who aren't afraid to embrace their masculinity, who aren't afraid to take charge and lead with confidence. The world needs men who understand the importance of balance, who recognize that true strength lies in embracing all aspects of ourselves, both masculine and feminine. Let's redefine what it means to be men in a world that desperately needs strong, authentic leaders. It's time to discard the shackles of learned helplessness and reclaim our birthright as masculine men. It's about reclaiming an essential part of ourselves that we've allowed to wither and die. It's about acknowledging our innate desires to protect, to lead, and to conquer. Not for the sake of dominance, but for the sake of personal fulfillment. The answer lies within each of us, shaped by our unique experiences and influenced by the messages we've received throughout our lives. Some of us have been scarred by toxic masculinity, witnessing firsthand the destructive nature of a father or other male role model who abused their power. This trauma has understandably led us to reject traditional masculinity, viewing it as synonymous with toxicity and harm. Others among us have been molded by a society that sought to emasculate men, undermining our value and trivializing our concerns. We've internalized these messages, believing that our masculine desires are somehow less valid or deserving of attention. Still, there are those who have been left without positive male role models, deprived of the guidance and support that only a strong father or mentor can provide. Without this foundational support, we've struggled to navigate the complexities of masculinity on our own. And so today, we're going to dive deep into the abyss that's swallowing our masculinity. We've witnessed the dark side of unchecked masculine power. We've felt the sting of societal rejection, and we've lacked the guidance of strong male role models. These wounds run deep, shaping us into men who feel lost and uncertain of their place in a rapidly evolving world. We're going to rip open the band-aid of societal expectations and expose the wound that's bleeding our generation dry. A world where men are told to embrace their emotions, while simultaneously mocked for displaying any form of masculinity. Yet today, we're witnessing firsthand the consequences of this suppression. It's led us to seek solace in instant gratification, whether through pornography, social media, or toxic relationships. We've traded our natural masculine desires for artificial highs that offer only fleeting moments of pleasure, followed by a crash that leaves us even more empty than before. A world where societal structures seem to be crumbling, leaving us adrift in a sea of uncertainty. In such turbulent times, men, we must confront the harsh reality that many of us are living lives of quiet desperation. You heard that right. We're talking about the wound that's eating away at our generation. Men, we have to talk about this, and we have to talk about it now. Are you ready? Let's dive in. It was created by our own choices. Our ancestors fought tooth and nail to preserve their masculinity, understanding its importance in protecting their families and upholding societal values. Yet we, with our access to unprecedented knowledge and opportunities, have allowed ourselves to be swayed by the winds of change. Now, before we dig into the depths of this issue, let's take a step back and examine the world we find ourselves in. Our fathers, raised in a different era, taught us to suppress our feelings, labeling them as weaknesses. But here's the hard truth we must face. This void wasn't created by our fathers, nor by the society that ridiculed our natural masculine instincts. And here's the most unsettling part. Many of us are content with this state of quiet desperation. So let's dissect this further. Why have we, the lucky generation, willingly forsaken the strength that comes with embracing our masculinity? So let's confront this head on. Why have we forsaken our masculinity? Because we've been hurt. But here's the pivotal question. Do we, the lucky generation, really want to forsake our masculinity? Masculinity isn't a dirty word. It's a testament to the strength and resilience that's been ingrained in us since the dawn of humanity. So let's take a stand against the status quo. And here's the beautiful truth. By doing so, we'll not only be serving ourselves, but also the world around us. As men, we have a responsibility to break free from the cycle of quiet desperation that's plagued our generation. Remember, brothers, this journey is not about seeking revenge on women or perpetuating a misguided sense of entitlement. In doing so, we'll not only be restoring our masculinity, but also enriching our lives with genuine connections and a profound sense of purpose. Brothers, the time is now. Are you ready to join this movement? Are you ready to embrace your masculinity and rewrite the narrative of your life? If you resonated with this message, if you feel the burning desire to reclaim your masculinity and shatter the shackles of societal expectations, then show your support. Let's ignite a revolution of masculinity, a movement that echoes through generations, reminding men everywhere of their inherent power and potential. And remember, bros, this journey is ours alone. It's time to discard the crutches of the past and embrace the power within. Are you ready to take the first step on this transformative journey? Until next time, stay vigilant, stay authentic, and stay strong.